What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we will be discussing 5 tips for beginners in Rise of Kingdoms. If you are new to the channel, let me go ahead and personally thank you for stopping by and welcome. And if you're into content that covers tips and guides to help you optimize your account and dominate the open field, consider subscribing because we cover content like that here on the channel. Also, we just recently set up our Discord for the channel. Go ahead and check that out. The link will be in the description below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into these 5 tips. Okay guys, tip number 5 for beginners in Rise of Kingdoms, in my opinion, would be spin down your action points. Utilize your AP when it's full. Do not let it stay full if you see it. So right now my AP is full. I definitely need to spin down my action points. The reason for this is not only do you get the XP to the commanders that you want to level up, they also give you resources, speed ups, tomes of knowledge, and some stars. Now, understand the stars may not be that big of a deal, but for beginners, you may need those stars. And it may not seem that much of rewards, but over time, that stuff piles up and it becomes a lot bigger of a deal because it piles up, and before you know it, you have a lot of resources and speed ups from attacking barbarians. Now, a little caveat on top of that, I tie in doing Guardians on top of spending your action points. Now, doing Guardians does not take action points, but it gives you a ton of XP for the commanders that you want to level up. It's the fastest way to level up your commanders besides using tomes of knowledge. Now, if you are so new to the game, your kingdom may not have scheduled Guardian times, but don't worry, eventually it will be structured enough that there will be scheduled times to go around the map and do the Guardians. So you will be able to gain a ton of XP if you follow those times and go around and do each Guardian site along with the other people in your kingdom. Number 4, always be building and researching as a beginner. Do not let your builders or your academy go idle. You should consistently be upgrading a building and researching something in the academy. Now, the ultimate goal is to get to City Hall 25 as quickly as possible. You want to do this because you make yourself more attractive to a higher power alliance in your kingdom. And the higher power alliance that you can get yourself into, the easier it will be, because you'll be getting more gold chests, you'll be getting more of the fort chests when people attack barbarian forts. It just makes you all around overall more of an attractive player account wise to help you get into one of those better alliances. So for tip number 4, always have a building upgrading, and your research academy researching something. Number 3, always have your troop training buildings continuously queued. Do not let your training buildings go idle. If you're about to go to sleep and let's just say your infantry are about to be done training in, let's say, 2 or 3 hours, well, you're going to be asleep, and let's say you sleep 8 hours. Well, that's 5 hours of training time that is wasted. So go ahead, use some troop training speed ups, go ahead and knock out those 2 or 3 hours and start a new queue of training. And that way you're optimizing your troops and there's no downtime or time wasted that they could have been training more troops. Number 2, always be gathering resources. Farm aggressively. If you get on and you see that a few of your gatherers are back, send them back out. Do not lose time and waste precious time when you could have been farming more resources. Resources are a major part of this game, and the later you get into it and the higher level you get, the more you need. So farm resources aggressively. Now, as a new player, as a beginner, you get tons and tons of resource packs when you first start the game. You get a lot of them. And the mistake that a lot of new players make is instead of saving them, they open all of them. And so they're a low power player new to the game, and their account is sitting with like 50, 60 million of each resource. All you're doing is you are making yourself look like an optimal target for a higher powered player to come and steal all of your resources. And if you had just kept your resource packs instead of opening them, then you would be able to use them to recover if somebody were to attack you. So it's like a bank. So if somebody attacks you, they can't steal what's in here. They can only take what is available. So tip number 2, farm aggressively and do not use your resource packs if you do not need to. Tip number 1, the last and final tip. Start a farm immediately. Even if you just started the game a couple weeks ago, go ahead and start a farm, and on that account, it will literally only be used to gather resources to send to your main account. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, resources are extremely important, especially the later and later you get into the game. So you start a farm and you do the very basics with the farm. It's literally just to gather resources, and you can determine which point you want to stop. This is my farm, and I will not be going past City Hall 22 because I have 5 March queues, and so I can send out 5 gatherers. And at 22 and the Academy at 22, my economic technology is in a good place, and I can actually upgrade a little bit more past this. So the gathering for my farm is actually really good. I can gather resources very fast. So the last and final tip number 1, start a farm immediately. Well, there you have it, guys. That's my 5 tips for beginners in Rise of Kingdoms. If you enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like on it. I'd really appreciate it. It helps the channel out more than you know and helps us grow. Also, don't forget to check out our Discord. The link is in the description. And until next time, thanks for stopping by. You stay classy, governors.